The 5 love languages. How to express heartfelt commitment to your mate. On Valentine's Day, February 14th, you'll notice restaurants bustling with business, movie theaters packed to capacity, and even ordinary roses that usually cost a couple of dollars skyrocketing to unreasonable prices. On this day, dedicated to expressing love, couples inevitably exchange gifts. But have you ever wondered if your carefully chosen gift is what your partner truly wants? Will they genuinely be happy receiving it? Is gift-giving the only way to express love? Speaking of gifts, let me share a classic story. It's The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. Jim was a modest company clerk whose monthly salary barely covered their household expenses. His wife, Della, was a homemaker who managed their domestic affairs. Though they lived frugally, each possessed one precious treasure. Jim had an heirloom pocket watch, while Della had beautiful, cascading long hair. As Christmas approached, both racked their brains to find the perfect gift to express their love. Jim spotted a jewel-encrusted comb in a shop window, thinking it would perfectly complement his wife's beautiful hair. He decided to sell his cherished watch to buy it. When he returned home, he was stunned to find his wife with short hair. Della had sold her hair to buy him a platinum watch chain. While the story's ending might not seem perfect, it radiates pure love. This story relates directly to our book's theme. The couple expressed their love through gifts, speaking the same love language. They were fortunate to share this understanding. Real life isn't as simple as fiction. Everyone speaks different love languages, or in other words, expresses love differently, often leading to conflicts between couples. This book reveals the author's discovery from over 30 years of marriage counseling. People primarily use 5 different love languages to express and understand love. The book's most valuable contribution is helping readers identify their love languages and providing methods to learn them. The author, Gary Chapman, is a renowned American marriage counselor and president of Marriage and Family Life Consultants. His radio program, Growing Marriage, broadcasts on over 100 stations, and he's successfully helped hundreds of couples resolve their marital issues. The 5 Love Languages has been a consistent bestseller since its 1992 publication, frequently topping the New York Times bestseller list. The English version has sold over 5 million copies and has been translated into more than 20 languages worldwide. It's now considered an essential resource for marriage counseling and personal growth globally. This practical guide helps you understand your own and your partner's love language to specifically improve your romantic relationships and marriage. We'll discuss 3 aspects: how emotional needs affect relationships, the importance of love languages and how to identify them, and important considerations when learning love languages. Let's first examine emotional needs. The desire for love is human nature, and everyone has an emotional love tank, a crucial indicator of happiness. Like a car's gas tank, the love tank needs to be maintained at appropriate levels for optimal functioning. The concept of the love tank came from Dr. Ross Campbell, a psychiatrist whose lecture the author attended. Dr. Campbell explained that every child has an emotional tank waiting to be filled with love. When children truly feel loved, they develop normally. However, when their love tank is empty, behavioral problems often emerge. Most problematic behaviors in children stem from an empty love tank. In other words, when a child's emotional needs are met and they feel emotionally stable, they're more likely to develop into a responsible adult. Conversely, when children don't receive enough love to fill their emotional tank, they may develop unhealthy emotional or social behaviors. The book shares a story about a 13-year-old girl named Ashley who contracted an STD, leaving her parents furious. They kept questioning her actions and blamed the school's inadequate sex education. When the author spoke with Ashley, he discovered that her parents had divorced when she was 6, and she lived with her mother. Ashley always believed her father left because he didn't love her anymore. When she was 10, her mother remarried, and Ashley thought she'd finally have someone to love her. However, while her mother and stepfather provided for her material needs, they completely overlooked her emotional needs and the anger stemming from her lack of love. Ashley's love tank remained empty until she met an older boy at school who showed her kindness and affection. After some time, Ashley believed this boy truly loved her, and this feeling of being loved quickly filled her long empty emotional tank. She candidly admitted that she didn't want sex, she just wanted to be loved. This helps explain her actions. Of course, The need for love isn't limited to childhood. It continues throughout our adult lives and into marriage. What Ashley might not have realized is that romantic experiences don't equate to emotional fulfillment. They can't truly fill our emotional love tank. Romance can temporarily satisfy emotional needs, creating an illusion of intimate connection. During the romantic phase, two people are consumed with thoughts of each other, falling asleep thinking of them, waking up with them as their first thought, blind to any faults, and convinced their love will last forever. For Ashley, romance was like a painkiller, providing an intoxicating feeling of being cared for, admired, and appreciated. Once the romantic high fades, her emotional needs would resurface. Psychologist Dr. Dorothy Tenov's extensive research on romance revealed that an intensely romantic relationship typically lasts about 2 years. Secret romances might last slightly longer. However, the harsh reality is that eventually, we return from the clouds of romance to the ground of reality. That's when we suddenly see our partner clearly, noticing unbearable habits and issues that were overlooked during the honeymoon phase. What are the consequences? Some couples believe they have only two choices when romantic feelings fade: endure a lifetime of unhappiness together or start over with someone new. While remarriage is increasingly common, research shows second marriages have a 60% divorce rate, even higher when children are involved. What many don't realize is there's a better third option: understanding the nature of romantic love and choosing to love your partner intentionally and actively, filling both your love tanks. But how do we do this? This is where the concept of love languages comes in. Dr. Chapman explains that everyone has their own way of expressing love, their love language. We need to discover and learn to speak our partner's love language. He identifies 5 basic love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. To put it simply, words of affirmation means using positive language to encourage and thank your partner. Quality time involves giving each other undivided attention while doing activities together. Receiving gifts means expressing love through meaningful presence. Acts of service involves doing things your partner wants you to do. And physical touch includes holding hands and other physical expressions of affection. Physical affection, kisses, hugs, and intimacy are ways to communicate love with your partner. How should these love languages be expressed? Let's take words of affirmation as an example. The book mentions a story about a woman who enjoyed writing. In her youth, she submitted an article to a magazine, but after it was rejected, she never tried again. During their first few years of marriage, her husband was too focused on his career to notice his wife's writing passion. Later, he realized that personal achievements weren't as important as their relationship, so he decided to invest more attention in his wife and her interests. One evening, he read an article she had written and thought it was excellent. He told her, "I just finished reading your article, Making Holidays More Meaningful, and it's wonderful. Darling, your writing is clear and vivid. It paints such a beautiful picture. You're a talented writer, and this piece deserves to be published. You should send it to some magazines." His wife hesitated, asking, "Do you really think so?" "Absolutely," he replied. "It's definitely a great article." Encouraged by her husband's support, she submitted the article to several magazines. Since then, she's had numerous articles published and now even has a book contract. Psychologist William James once said that humanity's deepest need might be feeling appreciated. Words of affirmation can fulfill many people's emotional needs. When we hear them, we feel motivated and more inclined to reciprocate. When the wife received her husband's verbal affirmation, it unleashed her potential, filled her love tank, and strengthened their marriage. In marriage, people often wonder, why don't they get a response when they're giving their all and doing everything possible to show their love? This happens because we tend to express love in our primary love language, forgetting that it might be like speaking a foreign language to others. They simply can't understand the message we're trying to convey. Moreover, spouses rarely share the same primary love language. Take the couple the author counseled who had been married for 12 years with 2 children, but were constantly disagreeing and had a troubled marriage. The husband complained his wife didn't love him despite his hard work providing for the family, while the wife complained he never helped around the house or spent time with her. During counseling, the author discovered that despite their problems, they still appreciated certain qualities in each other. He suggested they write down what they liked about each other and express appreciation verbally, while temporarily setting aside their complaints. After some time, the husband's attitude completely changed, and he regained hope in their marriage, but the wife showed little improvement and continued complaining about the lack of time together. The author realized that the husband's love language was words of affirmation, while the wife's was quality time, focused attention, and shared activities. Since they had different love languages, the same approach couldn't solve their conflicts. Upon this discovery, the author advised the husband to make a list. The husband wrote down several activities his wife had previously mentioned wanting to do together. Attending symphony concerts, spending weekends in the mountains, arranging a babysitter so they could have dinner dates, taking time to talk with their children about their school experiences, and sharing their daily experiences with each other when they got home. Following the author's advice, the husband committed to completing one activity each week. Years later, their relationship had grown stronger, and they both agreed these were their best years together. The husband became a symphony enthusiast under his wife's influence, while she filled her list with things she appreciated about him. He successfully started his own company, and instead of complaining about his work dedication, she became interested in his career and encouraged him. She knew she held the most important place in his life. Love is always abundant. Beyond the affirming words and quality time we've discussed, let's explore how to express the other three love languages. Physical touch is straightforward and well understood. Gift giving, like in The Gift of the Magi, shows love through tangible symbols. Gifts can be purchased, found, or handmade. They can be tangible, like a Valentine's Day rose, or intangible, like spending a cozy weekend together. Acts of service mean doing things to make your partner happy. Cooking a meal, taking out the trash, cleaning the sink drain, wiping spots off mirrors, washing the car, or walking the dog. These small gestures, when done regularly and willingly, show your love. Now you're probably wondering about your and your partner's primary love languages. Many long-married couples remain unclear about their partner's love language, or even their own. The author suggests several methods to discover them. 3 ways to identify your primary love language. 1. Consider what your partner does or doesn't do that hurts you most. The opposite might be your love language. 2. Reflect on what you most often request from your partner. These requests likely indicate what makes you feel loved. 3. Think about how you typically express love. Your method of showing love might reveal how you prefer receiving it. To discover your partner's love language, use similar approaches. Notice how they typically express love to others, what they frequently request, and what they complain about most. Complaints often reveal their primary love language. While complaints might frustrate you, they provide valuable insight. For example, if your partner says, "We never spend time together," rather than defensively responding, "What do you mean? We just had dinner out last Thursday," try asking, "Darling, what would you like to do?" This approach is more constructive and might lead to meaningful answers. You can also conduct a 5-week experiment, focusing on one love language each week and observing your partner's responses. You'll likely notice distinct differences in their facial expressions and reactions during the week you speak their primary love language. The text concludes with a love languages assessment quiz. Taking it together and discussing the results can help couples navigate their marriage more effectively by understanding each other's love languages. Now it's time to dedicate ourselves to learning until we can apply these principles naturally. Learning a new love language can be quite challenging, especially when your partner's primary love language feels unnatural or difficult for you to express. What should we do in such situations? The answer is simple. Step out of your comfort zone for love and choose to speak it. When we understand our partner's love language and actively express it, they feel secure, fulfilled, and their emotional love tank stays full. The author shares an interesting personal story about his relationship with his wife. As a child, his mother always made him vacuum the house. From middle school through high school, he couldn't play basketball on Saturdays until he'd vacuumed the entire house. He vowed then, "When I grow up, I'll never vacuum again. I'll find a wife to do it." Yet now, he regularly vacuums their home. Why is that? It turns out his wife's love language is acts of service, doing things that your partner wants you to do, showing love through service. The author expresses his love by vacuuming, even though he naturally dislikes it. He wouldn't do it for any amount of money, but he does it for love. When his wife knows that his vacuuming comes from 100% pure love, she feels deeply touched and her love tank fills up. Think about it. Many things we do daily aren't naturally comfortable. Like getting up every morning, fighting gravity. It's usually uncomfortable. Why do we do it? Because we know there are worthwhile things to accomplish that day. By day's end, when we've completed our tasks, we're glad we got up. You see, our actions often precede our emotions. In marriage, when you wholeheartedly focus on your partner's well-being and speak their love language to meet their emotional needs, their love tank quickly fills up. They're likely to reciprocate by speaking your love language too. This creates a healthy, positive cycle in marriage. Of course, some couples face more serious issues, where accumulated hurt has depleted their love and turned them into adversaries who despise each other. This raises the question, can we love someone we hate? The author shares a story about a woman in an unhappy marriage where both partners had grown to hate each other. Feeling desperate but wanting to save her marriage, she sought the author's help. Under his guidance, she discovered her love language was quality time, while her husband's was physical touch. The author suggested she take initiative in physical intimacy and create a plan for their intimate life. She struggled with this advice, saying, "It's hard to respond to him physically when he constantly ignores me. I feel used rather than loved, and I hate it." The author explained the difference between love as a feeling and love as an action. Love as a feeling is instinctive, a genuine reflection of one's love tank. You either feel it or you don't. Love as an action is different. It's choosing to consider your partner's needs and learning their love language to fill their love tank. After some internal struggle, the woman followed the author's advice, taking planned, proactive steps to show love. She regularly checked in with her husband about his feelings. When she received his first positive response, he also expressed his own love language needs. After 6 months of this experiment, the wife saw significant changes in her husband. Two people who once seemed like bitter enemies finally transformed back into a loving couple blessed by the heavens. You see, love is a courageous choice. When you choose to act on love, even though it's challenging, you'll gradually reap the rewards of affection. This book first discusses how emotional needs affect relationships between men and women. The common cause of marital problems is a disconnect in love languages. Everyone has needs for giving and receiving love, like an emotional love tank that requires proper maintenance to stay full. We need to understand and learn both our own and our partner's love languages to keep each other's love tanks full. There are 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. You can discover your own and your partner's love language through 3 methods: observing what they dislike most and what they appreciate most. If your partner's love language feels unnatural and difficult to learn, we need to make our best effort for love's sake, step out of our comfort zone, and choose to learn their language. When both spouses actively choose to speak each other's primary love language, they can effectively fill each other's love tanks and better handle conflicts and disappointments in marriage. This book gave me 2 key insights. First, the right remedy leads to the right cure. You might buy her luxury gifts like YSL lipstick, Hermes bags, or thousands of roses, but simply listening to her troubles or engaging in casual conversation might make her happier. You might cook an elaborate meal or clean every corner of the house, but expressing gratitude for what she does and complimenting her qualities might satisfy her more. Love languages vary by person, and behind the 5 primary languages are many dialects. Understanding and learning to speak your partner's love language would be the best Valentine's gift. Second, love languages have broad applications beyond romantic relationships. They're valuable in daily social interactions and workplace communication. Humans are emotional beings. Everyone has an emotional love tank and enjoys giving and receiving love. Mastering love languages can significantly boost your emotional intelligence. After all, who wouldn't want to live and work in a harmonious social environment?